Good morning, Farmington High School, and welcome to registration for 2016-17. Today starts the process that you will finish on February 3rd of selecting the courses that you'll be taking next year as another step on your way to graduating from Farmington High School. We have the registration guide for you and all the registration materials you will need on the Farmington website. When you go on the website, you'll see the button. You'll see the button right there, and that's going to have all these materials that we go over for you today. The registration guide has some introductory information that the counselors will be going over in detail, and then the important pieces also will be all of the courses listed by department in alphabetical order. So you will be able to go over that information. And then you will have lots of people to help you out with this process. You will have your ramp-up advisors, all of your teachers, your counselors, and you'll be working with your parents and guardians to help you make the best choices for you.
A brand new feature this year is this web page. It looks a lot like that right behind me. This is an interactive online course guide. And I think you guys are going to really like using this. So if parents have never seen this before, you guys who are in older grades have never seen this before, this is going to be a way you can just touch one button and see everything there is to know about, for example, the art classes that we offer here. And one other button will show you the family and consumer science stuff. And all the different departments are represented. So I think you're going to really enjoy getting information this way. It's important to read these course descriptions and make really good choices to make sure that your schedule is great for next year. It's all about finding the classes that are the best fit for you.
As you are registering, you'll have to register for your Common Core classes like your math, your science, your English, and your social studies. If you have questions regarding what specific classes you should be talking about, we have flowcharts available for you. We have an English flowchart on page 25, a math flowchart on page 33, science on page 45, and social studies on page 51. So for example, if you don't know what English class you should be taking as an 11th grader, you will open up a flowchart on page 25 and it'll guide you on what English to take. If you're looking to take more at the advanced level, then it'll tell you what your options are as a junior to be able to take those classes. As you're looking at these, keep in mind that we have the Farmington requirements, and if you're planning on going to a 4-year college, you can go above and beyond, and those options will be included in those pages as well.
Good morning, Farmington. If you're planning to go to a 4-year college, this way.
Look at this camera.
Oh, there we go, looking at the camera. Love Live. If you're looking to go to a 4-year college, on page 10 of the registration guide, you'll see all the options for how to maximize your choices and make sure that you are doing your very best to get prepared for those options. Every college puts admissions guidelines on their website, so you do want to make sure that you're checking with your college, and hopefully by now you've had a chance to use your ramp time to really know what your choices look like after high school. In addition to that, we've added some additional features to our registration guide. So for example, advanced placement, AP European history, when you look at that registration guide description, you'll be able to see that it's an additional 5 to 8 hours of homework outside of the school day. So really, the biggest question that we get is, how do I know if I should take advanced placement or honors or college in the schools? And the answer is you really need to be checking with your current teachers to make sure that you're ready for advanced rigor. In addition, you need to find out how much homework you're doing in classes currently, and then look to find the balance so that you have the time outside of the school day to be able to add that extra amount of study time that it will take to be successful in those courses. If you're in doubt and you're not sure, certainly feel free to come and talk with your counselor or your ramp teacher about the importance of taking rigor outside of Farmington High School.
We're going to come back at the last 10 minutes of the ramp workshop day today, and we're going to be having you guys send questions to us. Everyone's going to be sending them to Ms. Newman's email address, so teachers should have that. And please submit any questions you might have. We'll come back in the last 10 minutes, and we'll answer those questions for you.
Don't Don't turn up yet. One quick note administratively. So the process that you're beginning today is a pretty elaborate process of creating the master schedule. We have next year we're going to have almost 2,000 students in our building with 100 staff members. And trying to create a schedule that maximizes everybody's opportunities and requests is about a 6 to 7 month process. The information that you give us over the next month when you register is vital to creating that schedule. It's a little bit like making reservations to hotels and different things like that. Based on the classes you select over the next month, for next year, we're going to start to build those reservations for you. And it's very, very difficult to make changes once we make that schedule over the summer. So you make a decision when you come back next year and want to try to get out of a class that we may not be able to have you do that because we're the seats that we have and things like that. So you need to be very conscious of the classes that you're choosing now and make sure that you really want to take those classes. And as you go through the process, we want to make sure that you're signing up for 15 classes in campus, and those are the classes that you want to take, and also selecting 6 or 7 alternate classes just in case we have a conflict. As hard as we try, we want to give everybody the opportunity to have the classes they want, but sometimes when we have single section classes, not everybody can take those classes because of conflicts, and we need to look and give you other opportunities. So make sure you're selecting those, but we only want 15 classes in campus when you put those in there. The other thing too is make sure you read the course descriptions. It's not an excuse that you didn't know what a class was about when you try to switch classes next year. Make sure you fully read that class description and you know what you're getting into. And to Ms. Newman's point about rigor and things like that, remember, all classes have work. Some just are going to involve more work outside of the school day, which is fine. And we want you to challenge yourself. We want to give you opportunities to prepare yourself for whatever you're going to do when you leave Farmington High School, whether it's going to a 2-year school, 4-year school, whether it's going into the military, whether it's going into the job force. And hopefully through RAMP and your post-secondary plan, you're beginning to have an idea of what you need to do and where you may need to go when you leave Farmington High School. So that plan should be part of your registration process as well. It shouldn't just be kind of willy-nilly, I want to take these classes because my friends are taking them, or I want to take these classes because I don't know what else to take. Make good decisions about the classes that you want so that when you get your schedule next fall, you're pretty happy with it. So we're going to turn over the next, probably 40 minutes or so you can begin to work. Your RAMP teachers are going to give you some more information that's specific to your grade level. So if you're a 10th grader, what do you need to take as an 11th grader next year? And then the counselors will come back the last 10 minutes and start to answer some questions. Again, you may not get all the information you need today, which is fine. Your RAMP teachers can help guide you to who go talk to, whether it's another class or another teacher or it's a counselor. But we want to have this wrapped up by the end of February. And again, so the last thing I'll say is that there's a few of you out there that won't put things in. If you don't select any classes, then we will decide what your schedule looks like, and I guarantee you're not going to be very happy when I start to pick the classes, because I'm going to figure out what classes we need room in, and that's where you're going to go. So make sure you register for the 15 that you want. Thank you, and have a great rest of your RAMP workshop and get some of that registration stuff done.
Welcome back, Farmington High School. I have a new agent, TJ, who will help me redeem myself from the last blooper. Anyways, we're back to answer all of your questions about the registration process. So some of the big questions that have come up have been duplicates. One of the things I want to mention is that a lot of your questions are in the registration guide. So please refer to that for any questions that we haven't answered during this live broadcast. In addition, please feel free to continue to email or Schoology message your counselor. We'd be happy to answer any questions. Teachers, we've tried to make sure that you are we've answered most of your questions. So on page 8 of the registration guide, you'll see a full rundown of the fine arts requirements. You'll see which classes count and which classes don't count for fine arts. So that's one huge thing that we just want to make sure that you're all aware, that the fine arts requirements and a lot of the other questions that you specifically had are listed in your registration guide.
Who's next? Me?
You.
All right, I'm going to do it. All right, one question I have here is, do you have to take A and B of a class in the same year? And the answer is yes. I can't really think of any reasons why you would take A one year and B the next year. And if there's some strange thing going on, you want to talk to your counselor about it, then we'll certainly answer that question. Another question that came in was, where do I find this information? It's not on the fancy graphic that's up here behind me. How do I find the information? Well, there's a full PDF of everything you could ever possibly need to know, such as things like what counts as a fine arts requirement. That's not going to be on the online big graphic, the round graphic, but you will find that in the registration. That's the one right there. You will find that in the full registration guide, which is available also on the registration page. So if you look at the resources, spend a lot of time doing that, you're going to get your questions answered that way.
Okay, seniors had a question, or juniors who are going to be seniors next year had a question. The question was, if I've taken an English elective as an 11th grader, do I still need to take English in the 12th grade? Yes, you do. You need 2 credits of English in grade 12. Another question, how do I sign up for PSEO and how do I register if I'm thinking about PSEO? First thing to do if you're thinking about PSEO, that's one of the many ways that students can earn college credit options. The counters will be doing a presentation for you and your parents on the 21st during conferences next Thursday that will give you all of the background information you need about all of the college credit options, including PSEO. But you just register as if you're going to be taking your classes here, if you're thinking about PSEO or if you actually apply, and then we make the adjustments after you already have registered. We make the adjustments for you next fall in your schedule. Okay, 10th grade question for students who are going to be 10th graders next year. If I take honors English, do I also have to take AP History? Because I know many of you 9th graders had civics, honors civics, and honors English together. No, you may next year take honors English and then regular U.S. history. They do not have to be linked next year. Another question, what about Personal Law 1? Can I take Personal Law 1 without taking Personal Law 2? Yes, you may, but you could not take Personal Law 2 without taking Personal Law 1. So go ahead and sign up for 1. That would be like a prerequisite for the 2. And then would the class like Personal Law be a good class if I were thinking about being a lawyer? Well, yes, it would, and the way you could find that answer is by going to the course description in the registration guide, and that would tell you all about the course. You could also find out who's teaching that course and talk to that teacher, and they could give you lots of detailed information.
And then I have a question from a 10th grader. With the classes I wish to take in 10th grade, I will not have room for any electives and I play soccer. Will this be too stressful? That is a good question. You have to think about your balance as you're registering for these classes. So if you want to take all required classes and not have any electives, just think about what things you're involved in. If you're doing athletics, think about how much time that's going to take up for you, and think about how much time your classes are going to take up for you. So for example, if you're taking advanced classes, you can look in your registration guide. It'll give you a description of how much time you'll be spending outside of the classroom working on that stuff.
We're out of time, huh?
Well, we're still recording. It's going to keep going.
Well, the other really great question, which camera am I using, guys? 3, got it. The other great question that came through is, some of the classes need me to be in the top 20 and 30% of my class. How do I go about registering that? That is a great question. What I would say is go ahead and register for those classes that you're interested in. Obviously, if you've done really, really well in your classes so far, chances are you're going to be at the top of your class, and then your counselor will go through and make sure that you're appropriately placed in that class.
Okay, another question, a last question here. If I take health 0 hour, do I still have to take a gym class? Yes, in 10th grade students, you're required to take a Phy-Ed class as well as a health class. And that again will be in your registration guide.
Thanks, FHS. Happy registration.
Thanks, Genius.